Hey y'all, John with New York Metro Weather. Hope you guys are doing well. Happy Wednesday. Fun fact, I recorded this video about 15 minutes ago and I did it without the audio on my app. So this is the second time that I'm doing this. I just thought you guys would like to know that. But anyway, want to take a quick moment to say thank you to everyone for supporting us and continuing to allow us to do what we love to do. It's not lost on me how special it is that I get to talk about the weather with all you guys, and I think it's really amazing. So thank you for everyone who continues to support us, and we really, really appreciate it. We are talking about a winter storm threat for Friday evening into Saturday across the New York City metro area. Not currently looking like a major winter storm threat, more like another light quick hitter coming in and out of the city, and we'll get into the reasons why and what's causing the storm here. So obviously, just a quick note, these videos that we put on YouTube are a little bit longer form, a little more detailed, and they're like that on purpose because we want to give people the ability to kind of understand this stuff. This is not like a quick hit weather section on the news. It's a little more, what's happening, why, so we can all learn and have fun talking about it. So here's the storm system of interest is actually expanding throughout the upper Midwest tomorrow, Thursday into Friday. And the model suggests that this storm, this low pressure, will eventually slide off to the east and then redevelop off the coast of the mid-Atlantic states. But you'll notice that the initial low goes pretty far north towards Pittsburgh, and the secondary one's a little weaker, and it really kind of forms way off the coast. I mean, this is pretty far south and east of the New York City metro area here. Our more substantial winter storms, our larger threats, are up here near the benchmark or tucked in near the New Jersey coast. This 40-70 benchmark right here, and this storm is way south of that. So that's why, one of the reasons why we're not expecting huge impacts from this storm. We'll get into the other details. But what's causing the storm in the first place, right? Let's go back up and check it out. And the first thing you're going to notice here is a lot of colors. And I'm just going to explain it to you so everyone can kind of understand. You're looking at the mid-levels of the atmosphere. So this is 500 millibars, about halfway up in the troposphere that we observe our weather in. And you're looking at ridges and troughs. So the reds, the pinks, those are telling you that the heights are abnormally high in those areas, big ridges of high pressure over these regions. And the blues and greens, these are troughs, so abnormally low pressures, abnormally low heights in those regions. So obviously there's a lot of red and pink up here, essentially from Alaska into the higher latitudes of Canada, Greenland, Hudson Bay, and this is called high latitude blocking. What this does is it takes air that typically resides up here, right? New York City's all the way down here. It takes air that typically resides up in this region and it dislodges it away from that area, number one. But it also acts as a block because it's a big area of high pressure. So if you look at this pattern across the United States, right, down here, you'd probably think that this trough, this storm, would eject this way up into the Midwest along the gradient here, along this ridge. But because this huge ridge is here, this storm can't do that. It goes up this way, and then it says, uh-oh, I can't go that way, and it comes back down towards the mid-Atlantic, towards the East Coast. So watch this disturbance here shoot off, and almost immediately it has to tuck underneath that high latitude ridging. And you can see that instead of going northward and expanding into Canada, it ends up southeast, expanding towards the northeast and the mid-Atlantic coast. So that's the reason why we have this storm threat in the first place. If that block wasn't here, up over Canada, this system would eject straight north, and we would have moisture and warmth returning in a rainstorm in New York. But instead, we have a little bit of a mixed bag coming our way, and I'll explain it. So here's what the model suggests will happen. This is an ensemble. We're looking at the European ensemble. You can see this swath of precipitation coming in as we move Friday into Saturday. It's really Friday night into Saturday. So let's pull up the operational run of the European model and look at what it suggests. So we'll go over to the northeast view here. Friday evening, this is valid at around 7 p.m. on Friday. We have a weak low pressure forming off the coast of the mid-Atlantic. And here's our moisture swath coming in from Pennsylvania and southern New York, heading towards the New York City metro. But you'll notice that the model is suggesting that the rain-snow line will already be close to or west of New York. And that's because the temperatures ahead of this system are not overly cold. This is not a ridiculously cold air mass. I'm sure you've been outside, you felt it. It's really not that cold out there. We don't have a huge high pressure. We don't have a big cold air mass, and we're heading towards the middle of March. So it's really just not that cold, period. But initially, temperatures are fairly warm. If we go and check out what the model suggests it'll be like when this moves in, it's in the upper 30s to low 40s across the coast. And even as we get into Saturday morning, we get later into Friday night and Saturday morning, temperatures are still, I mean, in the low 40s, right, and upper 30s in New York. So a lot of this stuff is going to hit the ground and melt it, or even possibly be a cold rain initially. But the model suggests that this heavier band of snow and precipitation will eventually move closer to the New York City Metro, and a lot of that has to do with this low pressure area deepening, pulling in some colder air, the dynamics start to get going, and that's when things cool down a little bit. And so this swath of snow is likely, this is valid at 1 a.m. on Saturday, this swath of snow is likely to move over the New York City Metro and eventually then pull back off to the south and east, with this valid at 12 p.m. on Saturday, precipitation finally pulling away. Zooming in and looking at how this looks to go sort of hour by hour, I always like to look at this, kind of get a better idea as to how things are going to play out. Initially, the model suggests that this is either a wintry mix or what we like to call white rain in the New York City metro area, where it is snowing, but it is not sticking. It is melting immediately because of the temperatures. But as we move deeper into the night, our 1 and 3 hour precipitation here shows us that cold air comes in and our precipitation changes over to snow. So we do have a period of snow Saturday morning, probably most likely between 1 and 5 a.m. This snow sticking around. This is valid at 4 a.m. here. So we still have this area of heavy precipitation. And our warmer air down here, east end of Long Island, central and southern New Jersey. And then as we move into Saturday morning, the heavier stuff shifts down south. Or I should say moderate, but probably not heavy. And it shifts down south. And then by the time we get to about noon on Saturday, this thing is wrapped up. And here's what the European model suggests we will see accumulation-wise. And I think this is a pretty good starting point for this storm system, knowing what we know about the temperatures, especially in the low levels of the atmosphere, is that this is likely a light wintry impact event in the New York City Metro. It's a trace to 2 inches. You can see that in the Metro, it's lighter. But once you head inland, even if you get into Essex, Union, Passaic, Bergen counties, we're looking at the possibility of a couple inches of snow there. And then the higher elevations of New Jersey, you get up into even really Morris and then Sussex, you look at the possibility of more substantial snow here with maybe 3, 4, 5, even 6 inches in the highest elevations with this storm system. Again, it's colder in this area. The elevation is going to have a big impact. And so your real impacts from this storm are likely going to be back in the interior, while the coast itself is going to battle those temperatures and likely be on the lower end of the snowfall totals, looking at it. Probably a trace to 2 inches as the forecast in New York Friday night into Saturday morning. Still not a great forecast. It's going to be unsettled. It's going to be crappy out there Friday night into Saturday, so prepare for that if you're heading out. This is not the only storm on the radar, though. I want to back us up and look at our next system. Let's go back to those heights, right? So our first storm comes out. It expands off here to the south and east, and then look at this next one that shoots off here across the upper Midwest, situated right over Minnesota Saturday. And you'll notice that there's still this high latitude blocking in place across Canada. So this storm is also going to be forced underneath that blocking, and there's quite a bit more space for this storm. You see, this is a larger storm system. There's quite a bit more space for it to deepen. We even have a ridge building here into the Rockies, into the Intermountain West. And so that allows this storm to dig a little more, and the forecast, the suggestion is that it will amplify into a stronger storm system. If we go and look at what the models suggest pressure-wise, there's a couple of hints here. The models are suggesting this storm could strengthen. This is already a stronger looking signal than what we've seen with our storm that we're experiencing Friday night into Saturday. So there's a suggestion, there's a possibility in here that this storm Monday into Tuesday could be one that's much more impactful, if not for New York City, but for parts of New England, Long Island. There's a lot of possibilities here. The European model itself, if we look at what the European model does, it really strengthens this storm off the coast of Long Island. So we look at the simulation here, and this would be a major storm system tucking in towards parts of Nantucket, just east of Block Island, and significant snow possibilities across New England and maybe even parts of the New York City Metro. Not many other models are showing this right now, but if you look at that ensemble, you go back and you want to look at what the model's suggesting and look at the possibilities, there are several ensemble members in here that are showing the potential for a very strong storm. So Monday into Tuesday is the one to watch for bigger, more substantial impacts, but we do have this storm ahead of us Friday into Saturday. So we'll stick with that one as our focus for now. Again, we're expecting the possibility of a trace to 2 inches of snow with this storm as it kind of swings in and out of the New York City area in just a couple hours, late Friday night into Saturday morning, and likely out of here by Saturday afternoon. And that's when our attention will turn to this next one and the possibility of a more substantial system impacting us here in the Northeast United States Monday into Tuesday. Thank you guys, as always, for watching. We really appreciate you taking the time to check these videos out. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet. And we will be back with updates tomorrow, Thursday, on not only the system for Friday, but the potential bigger event Monday into Tuesday as well. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Have a great night. We'll talk to you real soon. Take care.